When a billionaire black woman is denied boarding on her own private jet by a flight crew who refuse to believe she owns the aircraft, what unfolds is a tale of resilience, power, and poetic justice. From humiliation to triumph, her actions will leave everyone stunned, sparking a global conversation about equality, accountability, and breaking down barriers. Jasmine Carter, a 35-year-old self-made billionaire, stood confidently in the golden morning sunlight of Los Angeles International Airport, the gleaming metal of her watch catching the first rays of the day. As the founder of a multi-billion-dollar medical technology company, she had become a global symbol of innovation and empowerment. Today, she was preparing for a business trip to San Francisco to attend a medical summit. Her private jet, parked just a few steps away, was waiting for her. Jasmine was dressed in a sharp navy suit, her posture straight and proud as she approached the jet. The excitement of the trip was quickly overshadowed by a subtle yet unmistakable shift in the atmosphere. A group of uniformed flight crew members stood nearby, exchanging whispers and glances, their eyes flicking toward her with an air of clear disdain. At the forefront was Captain Richard Hayes, a man whose body language radiated an unspoken judgment. As Jasmine walked closer to the jet stairs, Richard's eyes scanned her with visible skepticism. He stepped forward, offering a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Sorry, ma'am," he said, his voice dripping with forced politeness. "This jet is reserved for VIPs. There seems to be a misunderstanding." Jasmine paused, her gaze unwavering. "There's no misunderstanding," she replied coolly, her voice firm. "I am the VIP." Richard blinked in disbelief, his expression briefly faltering before transforming into a patronizing smirk. "Right," he drawled, dragging out the word. "Let me double-check. You can wait in the lounge while I confirm." Without a word, Jasmine turned on her heel and walked toward the lounge. Her assistant, Marcus, bristled with barely contained anger but was swiftly silenced by a single calming gesture from Jasmine. As they entered the lounge, Jasmine could hear the muffled laughter and whispers from the crew outside. She didn't let it faze her. This was far from the first time she had encountered prejudice dressed as professionalism, but today she would handle it with grace. Inside the luxurious lounge, Jasmine sank into a plush leather chair, her fingers tapping rhythmically on the armrest as she gazed at the floor-to-ceiling windows. The crystal chandeliers and marble floors could not dull the sting of the encounter. With a sigh, she reached for her phone and dialed her legal team, her voice steady as she detailed the situation and outlined a plan of action. Her mind was already racing through the next steps. Marcus, standing by the window, clenched his fists in frustration. He was ready to confront the crew, but Jasmine remained calm, knowing that any rash action would only escalate the situation. An hour passed, each minute stretching out unbearably. The crew continued their casual banter, and though their voices were muffled, their arrogance was clear. Every laugh, every gesture made it even more apparent that they had no respect for her, not just as a businesswoman, but as a black woman in their space. Finally, the lounge doors opened, and Captain Richard Hayes entered, his expression still holding a smug air. "Unfortunately, the jet's owner isn't available right now," he announced with false regret. Jasmine stood up slowly, her every movement deliberate and controlled. "Good," she said with icy calm. "We can discuss this now." Without waiting for a response, she strode past him, her heels clicking sharply against the marble floor. Marcus followed closely behind, his loyalty to Jasmine clear in the tension in his posture. At the foot of the jet stairs, Jasmine stopped. She pulled out her ownership credentials with practiced ease and handed them to Richard. His face turned pale as he took the documents, his earlier smugness evaporating in an instant. The rest of the crew stood frozen, realizing the truth. The luxurious jet was indeed hers. "This is your jet," Richard stammered, his voice faltering. "Indeed," Jasmine replied, her voice sharp. "And as of now, you and your team are dismissed." Her words hung in the air like a verdict. "Gather your belongings and leave immediately." The crew shuffled, their previous arrogance now replaced by shame as they quickly gathered their things and made their way off the plane. Jasmine stood at the top of the jet stairs, watching them leave, her gaze steady. As soon as they were out of sight, she allowed herself a brief, victorious smile. But she wasn't done yet. Jasmine immediately picked up her phone again and contacted her public relations team. Within minutes, the cameras were set up to capture the departure of the crew, and the footage of their shameful exit quickly went viral. Jasmine stood poised at the top of the stairs, her image embodying the kind of justice that so often eludes those who are marginalized. The video was shared across social media platforms, and hashtags like hashtag #KnowHerName and hashtag #BreakBarriers trended worldwide. The airline issued a vague corporate apology within hours, full of empty promises and jargon. But Jasmine wasn't interested in their words. She was about action. The following day, she held a press conference that would resonate with audiences everywhere. "This isn't just about me," Jasmine said, her voice calm yet firm as she addressed a global audience. "Even with wealth and success, we are not immune to prejudice. This is a systemic issue, and it's time we confront it head-on." Her words sent ripples through the audience, sparking widespread support and igniting a much-needed conversation about systemic racism and the barriers Black professionals face in every industry. Jasmine's story was no longer just about one woman's fight for respect. It became a rallying cry for others who had faced similar discrimination. 2 weeks later, Jasmine launched the Clear Horizons Initiative. The program was designed to address the lack of diversity in the aviation industry, offering scholarships to aspiring pilots from underrepresented backgrounds, mandatory diversity training for airline staff, and mentorship opportunities to dismantle the systemic barriers that had kept so many from entering the field. The response was overwhelming. Former crew members reached out, expressing their desire to be part of the movement and help create real change. Jasmine welcomed their participation, knowing that their insights and experiences could help shape a more inclusive future. As for Captain Richard Hayes and his crew, their careers came to an abrupt end. Public outrage ensured that their names would forever be associated with shame, serving as a stark reminder that discrimination has consequences. For Jasmine, this victory was not just personal. It was about creating a world where everyone, no matter their background, had a fair shot at success. On her first flight under the Clear Horizons Initiative, Jasmine boarded her jet, now piloted by a diverse and enthusiastic crew, each member representing her vision for a more equitable future. As she settled into her seat and gazed out at the endless horizon, she felt a sense of peace. This journey was not just about reaching San Francisco. It was about breaking down barriers and creating a world where everyone had the chance to soar. If you found Jasmine's story inspiring, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more unfolding tales that challenge and change perspectives. Let's continue to share stories of empowerment, resilience, and justice.